Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Pillars of Eternity 2. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that it chose to join me today as we just sort of killed their spirit dealer or something. I'm not... Things are bad. Things were bad. I didn't do it on purpose, and I'm not really sure what happened. Anyway, you reach into her soul, into the Ranga's soul, into Ruasari. I'm not sure she will notice this. Chasing that spark of recognition, you feel hundreds of births and deaths within her, forming and disappearing like bubbles in boiling water. You sift past all of them, focusing your overwhelmed senses on the memory of a strange foreign man. When at last you seize it, you find yourself in the very same throne room, but the condition of the place and the memory of your host suggests that it is many, many hundred of years ago, if not more. You are seated on the dais. A man is brought before you, dressed in stifling black robes. He reminds you of a corpse dressed for a funeral. He reminds you of something else too. But one of your attendants leans in and interrupts the thought before you can follow it. She tells you that this is the man you asked to see, and that his people have been harassing yours. He calls himself Theos X Arcanon. Explain yourself, stranger. He gives you a smile that sets your teeth on edge.
Your Excellency, I come to warn your people. Your presence among these ruins is an affront to the gods. You must remove yourself, lest you face the gods' wrath.
Indeed, the man is an even greater fool than you had been told. The gods surely take their time. We have lived here 200 years, and they have yet to raise an objection.
The timeline of the gods is not for mortals to understand. But even their patience shall wear thin, especially after this warning.
I didn't say anything. You certainly feel your patience wearing thin. Who is he, this foreigner, to send your people from their halls and homes? And who is he to tell your people, the survivors, about the wrath of the gods? What ungrateful guest evicts his hosts? Our ancestors built these places centuries ago. We will not leave. For a moment, his unctuous facade melts away, and he blinks at you and your attendants. You get the impression that your response has surprised them.
Your people cling tightly to their history.
His jaw is tight as he speaks. He swallows hard as if gulping something unpleasant.
But where are these designs among your arts? Where is the carved Adra in your wooden huts? These places were not built by the Huana, but by an ancient people from a distant land.
You knew he was a fool, but now you suspect he's a dangerous one. His words are a lie, but like the very best lies, they contain the shadow of truth. Everyone knows foreigners once lived among your people as guests, but they have not been seen in 200 years. Which means that this was... like, the Ingwithans died 2,000 years ago, I think. So if they had not been seen 200 years, that means that this is way, way past. What prickles the back of your neck is the question of how he might know this, and why he brings it to you. The murals in this place and the stories of our ancestors tell it differently. How would you, foreigner, know our history better than our own grandfathers?
I have seen your murals, and I know that you will recognize this.
He produces a helm with 2 horn-like protrusions and a mask attached. That's his helm. And that's the mural that we saw. He's correct, you do recognize it. Your guards and attendants gasp. The man, Theos, smiles more broadly.
It was my people who built these places, and now I come before you bearing their warning.
At least that much is true. You turn to your guards. Seize him! Just as a look of surprise appears on Theos' face, and the ancient Ranga's memory skips ahead, you are looking at Theos once more. This time, however, he and a score of robed men and women are bound amidst a heap of peat and wood. This time, he is staring at you in disbelieving fury. You have gathered your people and told them that foreigners before them are the same ones who came to the islands centuries ago, and now your people are angry and frightened too, because every Wahaki remembers the story of how these foreigners abused the hospitality of their Huana hosts. So great was their iniquity that the gods destroyed the great city of Ukaizu and many others besides. This is the first time we're seeing a different story, I suppose. Or maybe this is the first time we're seeing the reason why Ukazu was destroyed. Watch now as I wipe their stain from among us. Your people cheer. Theos struggles and yells, but his words are drowned out. Let us never forget that this foreigner is a trickster and his people a plague. Hundreds of Wahaki stamp their feet and beat the ground with the butts of their spears. Still, Theos scowls and thrashes in protest. From this day forward, we must be vigilant. Let us root out such foreigners and keep our lands pure of their wickedness. The tribe cheers louder than ever. Young and old, Mataru and Roparu, all are united in purpose. A change seems to come over Theos. That's probably when he switched his souls, because he probably left that body. Maybe. The struggle leaves his body and the rage departs his face. Good. Let him accept his hand. But she doesn't know. I mean, her previous life. She doesn't know. Of course, we know. I mean, we players know. It's not clear that Penumbra herself is conscious of her own personality when she's reading the memories. Because it's all in the first person, so, yeah. One of your attendants offers you a torch. I'm gonna throw it into the pyre. You hurl the torch. The flames spread quickly. The foreigners scream as the fire advances. All except Theos, who looks back at you with a strange smile of satisfaction. You pull back from the memory, and the gruesome scene evaporates around you.
Why do you stare so?
Rasare frowns at you. Do you recognize the name Theos? Or the Latin key?
I know only that they clang and clash like foreign names.
She frowns, yet something in her soul sparks like kindling held to a flame. There is an ancient presence there, with its own memory. And we can go back to the same memory here. Interesting. That, let's see.
Why do you stare so? I know only that...
There it is. I came to discuss your slaver problem. Her eyes brighten with joy. Rasaria steps closer and embraces you roughly, clapping your back.
What say? If those parasites drew their final breaths, I would hear of it.
That's the same discussion as before.
I have come to... Rawatayan warships circle Crookspur, and tell...
There it is. But it's fine.
Barapo has slipped through the maw of Tangaloa.
This thing with it... Oh, Barapo has slipped through the maw of Tangaloa. Yeah, he did. That definitely wasn't my fault. I'm so sorry. What's it? Let's say this. This thing within ruin makes for a cozy hideout. She's not gonna say... This is gonna say that it's not within. Or maybe she doesn't know the word. She probably does.
Do not speak the name of those who felled mighty Ukaizo.
Yeah.
Their spirits are unwelcome.
Rasare narrows her eyes and studies you closely.
We do not hide. We are protecting a way of life that others would trample under their boots. The trading companies would strip the land that the gods gifted us and unmake the works of our ancestors. There is much to protect in the Deadfire. Too much for any single tribe.
She sighs, rolling her shoulders to release some of the tension. What's the excuse me? What's the significance of your face paint?
The Wahaki show outsiders that we know their deceitful face.
She spits on the floor.
My ancestor knew this face well. She recalled its every hateful curve to the Wahaki histories.
I don't know what she means by that.
We wear the bone-white grimace of our enemies and take power from it.
I'm not sure I understand that. Okay, so on a face level, like the Wahaki, not the Wahaki, well, the Wahaki in general, but the Wana in general, feel very much like the well, their language and certainly the names anyway to feel a lot like the Hawaiian people, who were well, had, I don't know their history though, so I can't say, but it kind of feels like that, and kind of feels like the relationship with the European countries that came to settle the land, because they were a independent country for the longest time, and I'm not really sure what happened for them to join the United States, actually. There's a contract, and there's a bunch of other things, so I'm not really sure how that works. But a lot of states in the United States were countries as well, before they joined. Well, I say that. I only know the one. Was it Texas? No, California. Was it California? A whole country for like a year or something? Anyway, it doesn't matter. My point is, if like it feels like they're taking that inspiration for just that, but that is such a hugely relevant point that multiple lines are dedicated to, that it feels that they have forgotten. Whoever wrote this forgets that I'm not really sure. I need to check, and I'll check. Either they're forgetting that all of the countries have, well, not all of them, but the vast majority of the countries have multiple races, and specifically the racism in this world, and I would say rightly so, very rightly so, for multiple reasons, but more than anything because there are actual races, biological races, which is very different from what actually exists in reality, obviously, but the racism in this world, and the distinction, and all that, is done based on race, actual race, rather than color, or ancestry, which is what happens in real life. So what I'll do, I'll save the game here, and I'll go to, not desktop, I'll go over here, I'll create a new character. Because if she's referring to the Ingwithans, then yeah, I can see the Ingwithans being a single race. Theos is certainly white of skin. Yeah, I can see that, and I say white of skin because he's not a white person. Like you can't say that. Like you can't even say that. You can't even use the word white person racially to describe people in historical terms, even though their skin might have been white. They weren't white people, because white people has a specific historical context, and it's definitely in relation to let's see, go. It's definitely in relation to the exclusion of other races, and it has a different mechanic to other races in historical terms. Okay, so let's see, but it isn't the first race to have that either, which is also very interesting. Oh, I need to skip intro, don't I? Okay, it actually takes a little while to get to the character creation. So readily, like immediately, we have a human, so folk. That's the race, I think. I'm not really sure. I think so. Yeah, an ocean folk, which is the subclass or something or other. And you can see the race over here. They're called folk, but it's kind of, I think. Are there? No, these are specifically called folk. They're human, but yeah. And so she's dark of skin. But she's of the same race as everybody else, because the racial lines in this setting are specifically about race, actual race. And you can see, even, let's go with the fairest of skin around here. So we have meadow folk, ocean folk, and savannah folk. Let's go with, and they have different things and all that sort of stuff. Single class, yeah, sure. That's actually not what I needed, but we can go with the druid. And animistic, and select all the things, because that's not the point. I need to get the character customization, and I can get those points. It's best character ever. And then we have all the backgrounds and all that sort of stuff, which in real life also mean different races, or can mean different races depending. Let's see, this doesn't matter. So what I want, yes, all the things. Colors. skin. See? They're the same race. Race is not color-based in this game. Or not even... I mean, yeah, there are different color... I'm saying this, but there are different color... Like, it would work on certain levels. Single class. Whoa, you can't go back? Oh, you can, but you need to double-click. For example... Well, godlikes are very different. That is the god. That is great right there. And Orlands obviously have... I think they can be blue. I'm not... Yeah. But what I was thinking of was the Aomawa. Yeah, definitely. The Aomawa have a very different color. I can just right-click. Yeah. Very different color. Yeah, just look at that. They have primary and secondary. So if they would paint... Then maybe that is the Aomawa. Maybe that is what it is. Anyway, well, I'm going on the tangential of most tangents, and I need to get out of here. Would you allow me to do that? I don't think you would. So yeah, I'll get out of here. And I meant to say the most tangential of tangents, or the tangentialist of tangents, which is what I was going for. But yeah, I guess we can dismiss that as just an oversight. Because many people write these games, and yeah, just they didn't clear that, even though they should have. Well, yeah, not everybody that writes these games is as immersed in them as you'd expect them to, honestly. But yeah, I stand by that. I don't think that is, unless that is a specific type of Aomawa that are always like that painting, because she has some lines. So yeah, that could be it, but it's super not clear at all, especially considering the whole thematic thing of everything. Let's fix this construct. This construct resembles and rattles. No, not resembles. Trembles and rattles. Its vacant gaze wandering without purpose. Habit and routine are seemingly the only forces keeping it upright. Let's speak the words of the command scroll. You read the words of the scroll, doubtful of the faded arcane scribblings, until a tingling sensation passes your lips. The construct abruptly hardens its bearings and turns to you, standing at attention. It seems that conflicting instructions from too many masters have led. This is the second time this happens. Anyway, in this area, instructions have led to the rapid degeneration of this construct's short-term memory. Well, let's clear the buffer. It's usually the best thing to do. You draw out the babbling, incoherent mess of instructions received over the years. The construct trembles throughout the procedure. The construct now stands at ease, regarding its surroundings with fresher clarity. Maybe you'll prove useful later. I don't know that I should have... I wonder... I'm not sure I did the right thing there. I'm pretty sure I didn't, actually. Aloth.
You look like you have something on your mind.
You look like you have something on your mind. I read an ancient... oh, actually, I do. Yeah. I read an ancient memory in Rosary's soul and found a link to the Latin key. You tell Aloth about the past life you glimpse in Rosary's soul, about her long ago meeting with Theos, his warning about the ruins, her decision to execute him, and her mandate to the Wahaki to defend their territory from outsiders.
That's like what he told the Glanfathans. I'll bet he didn't expect they'd kill him for it. Would have loved to see the look on his face.
That is interesting, though. It wasn't clear as to why he was surprised when they said no. Because obviously they said no. But also it is interesting that when he puts it like this, that he didn't expect they'd kill him for it. I think the surprise should have come when they killed him for it, rather than any other way. Because if it means that he was just so not foolhardy, but so just sort of confident about how people would react, and just these losers, they'll believe anything as long as it's the gods. Then it says something about Theos, and I think that might be what was trying to be said there. Just wasn't said. It wasn't in the text. It is sort of hinted at it here, though.
Then the Wahaki are the painted masks.
They've been serving the Leaden Key's interests for 2,000 years without even knowing it.
Well, the painted masks being their... That's what you were saying, Aloth. The significance here is that their face paint is the painted masks. The problem is the painted masks also show up in the first game, I think. Did they? No, there's masked people in the first game. But I think here they're just the people that are serving the Leaden Key. Huh.
Though not, it seems, in the way Theos intended.
Yeah, because they were already protecting these places before. He frowns, rubbing his chin.
Now that's just wrong.
Teeth gritted, she shakes her head. What are you thinking, Aloth?
Belief is a curious thing.
He crosses his arms, settling back on the balls of his feet.
Once, the Wahaki believed they were guarding themselves against the Ingwithans, Theos' people.
Yeah?
Yet over time, they became hostile toward all outsiders.
A thoughtful furrow splits his brow. What of it?
It's not just that the Wahaki misread Theos' original message. It fundamentally changed them.
And that is the reason why it was such a violent execution of... Well, violent depiction, rather, of the violent execution of Theos. Because from a narrative standpoint, it makes sense. So that we would know this change. Because it did feel like a change, or felt pretty brutal.
They went from being a large and well-connected tribe to a much smaller one defined by isolationism.
Worry burrows in the shadows and creases of his face, of Aloth's face. And this has got you thinking again about the consequences of your intervention?
You see all the ninnying I suffer from this lad? Right sure 'tis ratting all around in his noggin.
Oh, come on, stop it. It's the other personality. I don't remember the name. Yagis?
You know me too well.
Aloth's grin, or Aloth's wry grin doesn't quite banish his air of melancholy. Melancholy? Sure.
I've been chasing the Leaden Key, trying to undo the harm they've caused. But what if I'm only making matters worse?
Private agony muffles his voice. His breath catches in his throat as the full weight of his words hits him.
Might I be to blame? Have I made a grievous mistake in getting involved?
Through his scars and lines and newfound purpose, you catch a glimpse of the Aloth you knew 5 years ago, scared, alone, and desperate for direction. Lots of options in here. No one can know everything, so we've all got to do the best we can with the resources we have. Theos accomplished his goals, just not the way he originally planned. Your problem is looking for specific, immediate results. Huh. That's a problem? Looking for specific, immediate results? Consider how poorly Theos understood the Wahaki. How much less do you understand the Leaden Key?
Where to begin? So little that I expected to find a conclave of black-clad minions in the middle of the Deadfire.
Yeah, that does sound like a thing to expect. He utters a self-deprecating laugh, then falls silent, thinking.
Perhaps I was wrong to think I could unmake a 2,000-year-old organization. Or that it would be a straightforward task. It seems I've been as misguided as Theos ever was.
I can't say I blame him, though. Because that was my expectation. When he puts it like that, it makes sense. It makes sense that you wouldn't be able to do it. They have multiple cells, and there's all manner of cogs in motion. The tips of his ears redden, and he favors you with a chagrined look. I would have the same expectations. It seems I've been as misguided as Theos ever was. No, he was... Well, Theos never had the sense to see his mistakes. Correcting them now is what matters. A little smile softens his features.
Well, knowing the gods came from Kith, It's easy to see how the world became such a complicated place.
Sure, it's easy to justify anyway.
We're always trying to impose our own order of vision upon it. Perhaps it would be better off if we stopped altogether.
He raises an inquisitive eyebrow at you. I don't know. He shrugs thoughtfully.
It's not as though that's up to you or me, is it? Anyway, thank you. This has lifted a great burden from my shoulders.
Okay. Then I want to talk about something else.
Yes?
But I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Also, there's nothing else to do in this episode because we're out of time for the day. So, if these guys are doing the work for the leaden key, I suspect we're going to come back. Oh man, but if they're working for the leaden key... Well, doing the work the leaden key wants them to do, and they're now allied with Onekaza. What a complicated mess. That's really cool, though. That is really cool. Anyway, that's going to be that for today. I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Pillars of Eternity 2. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.